Hi, Gloria Lybecker here with Healing You. Today, as I've been sitting with others, accompanying them on their journey, there was a bit of a rain that came through. The air was much warmer as the spring is arriving here in Western Washington, and it smelled fresh outside. It felt like new life is ready to bloom, ready to emerge. And that's happening for a lot of us too, as we've been experiencing life much different than it used to be. There's a sense of stabilizing. Many of us in positions of leadership have really needed to work diligently in order to maintain our capacity to monitor our environment and that of our team members, of those we're responsible for and take care of, as well as expanding being more expansive and reaching outside of that inner circle to the bigger circle of community in our world, to do the best we can to be a resource, to create places where there's safe zones. There's finally beginning to be places where we can trust it's safe. It's just beginning. I want to acknowledge that there's many of us when we're younger, there's a inner resiliency that we have, and we believe we're invincible, that nothing can get us, nothing can hurt us. And for those of us that are older, we can remember those times, and we can monitor the environment for our younger ones too, to do our best to maintain safety for all. And then when we want to create that safety for all, we also need to make sure that we're slowing down and we're taking enough time to connect with our own hearts, with our own needs. Because we're not going to be able to be a resource if we're depleted. And when we're on, monitoring all the time, we're being busy, there's so much to do, we can start to fall into that pattern of not consciously checking in on our own sense of self. And I want to encourage us to slow down and to take that time to be in our experience. So we create a little bit more room for ourselves. Some of us, as we come down from being so busy, from our busyness, we can feel a sense of loneliness. And there might even be a sense of loss of some of the precious time that we value so much for self-connection. Because when we take the time to really deepen into self-connection, deepen our roots with life, we can tap into our joy, that joy juice. It's sweet. It really brings the joy up in life, to abide there. We need to nurture ourselves to abide there. And we need to be met there with others to celebrate our joy. So as we're navigating this time in the world, we're really trying to find our way to come into balance. We want to be a resource, and we want to be able to be busy and monitor and attending to things. And we want to be able to slow down, and we want to be able to come into our sense of self and relax and rest and digest. So there's a balance that we need, each of us, to find our own inner rhythm with life. Some of us are wondering, as we're looking for our balance, am I doing enough? Some of us are making donations to frontline workers. You know, we have so many people that have stepped up to be resourceful for other people. And then there's others that are supporting beyond their own inner circle. And then there's those that are out there that are supporting the emotional well-being of others and their people. There's so many different layers of support that's needed. And so we sit with, am I doing enough? And another question I ask you to take the time to be with yourself is, am I being with life enough? Am I taking the time to be with life in the present moment? Or am I caught up in the clouds of my thoughts and my plans and my thinking and those are important. I'm not dismissing those. And it's important to have balance, to rest in the being of who you are, to take time, to acknowledge what you may need. So as we take the time to actually come into that balance, we can begin to sense like a new beginning that's beginning to open before us. A new path, perhaps. Coming out of the confusion and the stress of this virus that has just traveled our whole world. And for many of us, we have been touched by the loss of extended family members. And that creates a different ripple. It's a ripple that we can slow down and we can begin to touch into the depression, the sadness, the grief. We need to name it, to meet it gently. As we just sit with it, we can feel it soften within us. When we can sit with what is and abide in that pool, take time to mourn together for the loss of our loved ones. When we can abide and name what is, there's a response that happens within our body, our nervous system, where we can start to breathe deeper. That miracle of being with life, being with what is happening in the moment, it opens our heart to new life. It renews us, and it develops or thickens the pathways of resiliency from deep inside. And as we rest there, we can be rejuvenated and empowered to begin to glimpse new life, just as there are many bulbs that are beginning to sprout up from the ground. And then they will develop into the beautiful blooms that they are in our world. There's new celebrations that come up out of the roots of taking the time to abide with our need to mourn. Because mourning and celebration are flip sides of the same beauty of the need. We need to take the time to mourn to be able to come into the new life of celebration. So if you're ready to step into community of heart-centered leaders to support others in our world, I invite you to reach out to me at healingyoursanctuary.com. And I'd like to explore a journey with you. There's a preview of the course on my website of the Healing You Intensive. And it's all about slowing down to come into balance and being with what is. Thanks for being on the journey with me today. Healing you.